Well, on behalf of my father, Art Jr., and mother, Mary Ann, and the entire Davis family in attendance this evening, including my brother David, my wife Hope, and our son Miles, I want to sincerely thank William Jewell College and the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for this recognition of my father. He would never have expected this award. He was only here 2.5 years, 2 years for football, 3 seasons for track. And we also want to thank all of our friends and fellow alumni for your kind thoughts and words of support and your attendance this evening. Special thank you to Larry Hawley and the other supporting cast with William Jewell for this event, for your hard work. And that's your hard work every single year. This has been going on for many, many years, and it's a great event, and we appreciate it. And then also special thanks to Dr. McLeod Walls. I had the good fortune of meeting with her this morning and a group of alumni, and I got to tell you, I was thoroughly impressed with her leadership and her message and her listening skills, and I'm really, really looking forward to her leadership in the future years. So thank you, Dr. McLeod Walls. Big Art, which is what many of our friends called him, almost never talked about his so-called glory days on the football field or about competing in the discus or the shot put, especially around his family and friends. In fact, I never knew he held William Jewell College records in shot put and discus until I attended school here, and really didn't even know he was recognized as an All-American until I saw his pictures hanging up in that little shoebox of a gymnasium called Brown Gymnasium when we would attend basketball games to watch our close family friend, the now deceased John Hickman, coach the Cardinals back in the 1970s. Dad was just not that type of person that would boast about himself. I do know he was extremely proud to be recruited by Frank Broyles to play football at the University of Missouri in 1957, and then was equally dismayed when Coach Broyles departed for Arkansas after just 1 season. Needless to say, being a Broyles recruit and expecting to compete and retain a scholarship on a Dan Devine coached Missouri team just wasn't going to happen. And for those of you that watched Rudy, you understand what I'm saying. And but that was it. That was the way it was with all big university programs during that time. And he knew it. He left school, got married, and Norris Patterson from William Jewell came to college. Dad loved William Jewell College. The coaches, his teammates, the administrators, professors, the friends he developed both from the classroom and on the field, and the many alumni that he would stay connected with through his entire life. Even though he transferred to William Jewell nearly halfway through his college career and was married, he always felt welcomed here. He always felt a reverence to both the institution, the beautiful campus, and to Liberty, the community. For he and Mom, both, in some ways, it was the reliable family he really didn't experience growing up. In Dad's case, his father was absent for the most part from the time he was born, and life wasn't easy for him. His mom was an immigrant from Poland that came over by herself when she was 10 years old in 1910 and didn't speak English at the time. He had a very hot temper growing up, and he possessed an aggressiveness that was developed fending for himself in the big city, Kansas City, starting at a very young age. I think it was Mom that told us at some point in high school that Dad had received some letters from professional football teams, but after graduating from William Jewell, he decided to just teach and coach, which was his passion. He had a genuine passion for teaching kids and was extremely proud of his William Jewell degree in physical education, which he got teased mercifully for by his Missouri Valley coaching buddies, but he just laughed and thought about the comparison of William Jewell degree versus the Missouri Valley degree. And he also had a minor in science, and that allowed him to get hired teaching science class at Van Horn High School, and also provided his first assistant football coaching job. He eventually went back to Paseo in Kansas City, his alma mater, and as track coach and assistant football coach before going into school administration and eventually becoming a school superintendent after obtaining his master's at UMKC and a doctorate at the University of Missouri, Columbia. He believed Jewell's physical education degree was an integral part of the William Jewell secret success formula in attracting athletes that wanted to pursue a career in education and/or coaching. Education, teaching, and coaching was his passion, and he told us on numerous occasions that education is the great equalizer, and that his success is a prime example of how important athletics is for many young people. Had it not been for his ability to obtain an athletic scholarship to participate in college football and track, he would not have had an opportunity to obtain a higher education. He strongly believed that college athletics is an important component in providing educational opportunities for everyone. He loved track and field, and he was especially good in the field events. I think that picture of him going over the hurdles, he's on the far right in that picture. Larry Hamilton, I brought it up every year when we would go hunting for the last 30-some years. And Larry was in the middle and was a pretty spectacular athlete and hurdler. Dad, I'm not sure he'd ever hurdled in his life. They decided to take a picture of the track team hurdling over low hurdles. And as he's going over and they're taking this picture, you'll see it come back up. If you'll notice that his back foot, it's lower than the hurdle is. And right after they snap that picture, as Larry he just loves talking about this story, Dad crashed to the ground and scraped himself up pretty seriously. And they just never stopped laughing about that. And another track story, Dad and Coach Gorley, the head track coach, Dad just loved playing around with the 16-pound shot put. Well, he was messing around and he accidentally dropped it right on Coach Gorley's foot. And it broke a number of bones and swelled up. And I just talked to Coach Gorley today, and I don't think he's in the crowd tonight. I talked to Coach Gorley today, and I asked him if he's still upset about that. And last time I brought it up to him about 10 years ago, he was still not pleased about it. And Coach Gorley said, you know, I was lucky because I had these new coaching shoes with a hard tip in the toes, and he goes, it only broke a few bones. It didn't break very many. So anyway, he actually laughed today about it for the first time. So some of you may recognize the many lifelong friends he and our family developed from his football and track teams while he competed at William Jewell. And, you know, Dad was all about, he loved track, but he really enjoyed football because it required complete and total teamwork, especially in the William Jewell system as it was coached by Norris Patterson, Dr. Norris Patterson in the single wing. And it required everyone working seamlessly together in that offense. And so he, like all good linemen, felt it was important and recognized his teammates, and he always appreciated so much the teamwork he had at Jewell. But some of the names that he would bring up on many occasions: Ed Elliott, Ralph Kincaid, of course, Larry Hamilton and his wife Phyllis, William Jewell grad. Larry was football and track teammate and longtime hunting buddy, and Larry just was a good friend of our family on many occasions. Sam Breckenridge, who actually didn't play football with Dad, when Dad transferred in, Sam was just graduating out at that same year, but Sam and Dad became lifelong friends, and Dad really respected you, Sam. And Vance Morris, Kenny Pollock, Jim Millen, Ron Haggard, Jim Stevens, Bill Snyder, who started it at the University of Missouri at the same time Dad did, and also ended up transferring to Jewell and playing at William Jewell. Pick Hartzell, Art Carter, Bob Howard, Dave Bolinga. John Hickman, who didn't play football, but we were lifelong friends with John, who is in the Hall of Fame and now deceased, and his wife Judy. John started out at the University of Missouri and transferred to William Jewell also. And then other friends, Harold and Anna Margaret McGuire. Harold's deceased, but Anna Margaret and Harold were both William Jewell grads. And we just had an enormous number of other William Jewell friends, civic and community leaders, and others from the region that were supportive. And also the coaches, Norris Patterson, Jim Nelson, and Daryl Worley. Dad was extremely appreciative of everything that they did for him as a student and then following throughout his life. It is evident to me and to most everyone that knows my family very well that there's no way Big Art would have achieved the success in athletics he did in high school and especially in college, and really in every other aspect of his life without his best friend, partner, wife, and mother of his children, Mary Ann Davis. She not only worked and earned enough for their living expenses while he pursued degrees at various levels of higher education, she then went on to pursue a nursing degree from William Jewell College, which she obtained in 1975, and then a master's degree after that in nursing, and was a tremendous success in her own right in running organizations. Plus, she kept him in line as his true personal nurse, which probably extended his life 20 plus years. She probably should have her name scratched on the plaque somewhere as well, because she really kept him together. Big Art was so very proud of Dave Davis, my brother, and for his perseverance in overcoming the significant challenges he faced following the car accident in 1991, in large part because of his heart, his determination, persistence, and the universal Davis trait of stubbornness. Finally, he was so very proud of his grandson, Miles Davis, who is now a junior at William Jewell and is learning a lot in his role of assisting the coaches and team on the William Jewell football team. I especially want to thank Coach Sam Brown, who's with us tonight, sitting right behind Hope and Miles. Sam has really taken Miles under his wing and has been a great mentor and friend to our son and to Big Art's grandson. As an only grandson, he benefited greatly from spending significant amounts of time with his grandparents, and especially his long talks about sports and life with his grandfather. Dad passed away in March of 2015, Miles' senior year of high school. So he knew Miles was attending William Jewell College, and I got to tell you, he was absolutely thrilled with it. So once again, on behalf of Big Art and the entire Davis family, we sincerely appreciate this recognition. Thank you.